Hi, this is Chan. Today I'll talk about why Cristiano Ronaldo isn't special anymore. Unlike Messi, who shined in glory at the World Cup, Ronaldo left the competition quite disappointingly. And at the club level, he's lost his glory with the increased number of minutes he spent on the bench since the start of this Premier League season. For the first time in his career, he became a non-regular in the starting lineup, and in the end, he went as far as to cause controversy by doing an interview with Piers Morgan. After mutually agreeing to terminate his contract with his former club Manchester United, he has since joined Al Nassr on humongous wages. But before he signed for the Saudi Arabian club, there were reportedly no major European clubs who were interested in his signature. In this episode, we'll leave all the issues aside and have a look at him and analyze what he still has as a footballer and what he's lost. So let's begin. Goal scoring ability. Have a look at his goal tally for the past 4 seasons. It's clearly showing a decreasing pattern. He scored 31 goals in the 2019-20 season in the Serie A, and in the following seasons, he scored 29, 18 and 1 respectively. But of course, we all know that he hasn't featured in all of the games this season, and on top of that, he's moved to a different league halfway through the competition. So we'll have to look at goals per 90 minutes, which are 0.96, 0.93, 0.66 and 0.17 respectively. So stats do prove his decline in form. When you put the stats aside and actually have a look at his gameplay, he actually misses too many chances, and the chances he misses are more often than not quite ludicrous. From an objective point of view, there are even some situations whereby if the missed chances were committed by players like Lautaro Martinez or Sterling and not Ronaldo, they would have gotten so much stick for their similar mistake. Before, we witnessed Ronaldo's unbelievable finishes that only he could pull off, but quite honestly, I don't see these anymore. Besides his decline in form, United's lack of chance creation also contributed to his goal tally. There are 2 reasons that I say this. Firstly, when he was young and playing for United, he was able to create so many chances on his own, but is physically not capable of creating opportunities by himself anymore. And secondly, after moving to Real Madrid, he's had players like Ozil, Benzema, Kroos, Casemiro and Modric who could basically dominate the game and create so many chances for Ronaldo. So he adapted his style of play to more of a poacher role when he left United in the late 2000s. The United side he played with this year wasn't capable of dominating the game and hasn't provided enough chances for Ronaldo. In a few of United's games, he received as little as 1 or 2 proper chances. Consequently, this meant that as a goal poacher, he was supposed to wait for chances up front. He was bound to lose his presence and lose his influence on the game. So does this mean that if United created a lot more chances, he could have scored more goals? Well, it's actually debatable because his goal conversion rate is around 5% with 22 attempts and just 1 goal this season. On the contrary, Haaland's conversion rate is 36% with 47 attempts and 17 goals at the time of this recording. This puts Haaland at the 2nd place for goal conversion rate and 53rd for Ronaldo. The reason that his goal conversion rate is low is that he shoots even in difficult situations. Kane and Salah also shoot a lot, and sometimes the shot gets blocked and leads to situations where the ball lands into a dangerous area of the pitch and everything. But Ronaldo at times just shoots from a distance, or he doesn't play the ball to his teammate in a situation where a few exchange of passes could lead to a more probable goal scoring opportunity. Ronaldo attempted 100 times on goal at the World Cup throughout his career, but his XG is 0.1. This stat also explains his tendency to shoot in a less probable situation to score goals. I personally think that scrapping chances with a random shot on goal is not beneficial for the team at all. I know I shouldn't compare him to Messi, but Messi doesn't shoot so randomly. Speed. Many people say that he's slowed down a lot, but is that real? Let's have a look. In the game he played against Newcastle last season, his top speed was 34.2 kilometers an hour. He was the 2nd fastest player in the game, and only Alan Saint-Maximin was faster. So his top speed hasn't declined from his peak that much. His top speed at the Qatar World Cup was 31.6 kilometers an hour and was faster than Messi, whose top speed was 31.4 kilometers an hour. What about the number of sprints? If you look at his stats from last season, he sprinted 15 times per 90 minutes, so it's not bad at all. It's just below Salah and Aubameyang and above Kane and Lukaku. Average distance covered by Ronaldo is 9.3 kilometers, which is similar to other players. So to sum up, his body isn't in a completely bad condition, but he's definitely lost his explosive acceleration. Last season, in the game when he tried to dribble past Salisu but was outrun, was too impactful to me. If Ronaldo knows that he's lost his speed, he should have opted to make a different decision. But the fact that his ego led him to challenge Salisu with speed was a little bit disappointing to watch. In his former United days, even when a strong pass was put through to Ronaldo, he had the pace to get the ball, but it's not like that anymore. So nowadays, instead of Ronaldo, for United's successful counter-attack, you need Rashford because he's fast. I mean, Ronaldo in the 2000s was able to hit teams on the counter-attack on his own. Seeing Ronaldo like this makes me realize that nothing is permanent in life. Pressing. Ronaldo is famous for his lazy presses. In modern football, The top teams are equipped with systematic and tactical presses, which means that if only one person doesn't press properly, the whole system doesn't function properly. And because of this, Ronaldo's laziness causes so much adversity. Let's see what's really wrong with Ronaldo's presses in further detail. First and foremost, Ronaldo's number of presses per game is significantly low. If you look at other players that play in Europe, 99% of the players press more than Ronaldo. When Ronaldo doesn't press up front, United's defense get weakened like a chain reaction. Have a look here. When the opposition centre-back pushes up the field with the ball, Ronaldo doesn't apply pressure. So instead of Ronaldo, Van der Beek runs out of position, and consequently Eriksen and Casemiro also run out of their positions, which weakens Man United's defense line. There was also this instance when they played against West Ham before the World Cup. Man United were putting all of their effort into pressing West Ham. Declan Rice in this situation dropped in between the centre-backs to receive the ball and passed the ball to the right centre-back, which was then passed over to the right back. After passing the ball over to the right side of the centre-back, Declan Rice moved up the field to receive the ball in the middle of the park, and Ronaldo didn't press Declan Rice at all. And basically, West Ham were left free in the build-up process. As demonstrated, Ronaldo's lack of pressing turns the effort of his teammates pressing into a useless running session, so no top team would tolerate his laziness. I said earlier that Ronaldo's number of presses per game is low, but there's an even bigger problem, which is pressing on his own. He actually does press his opposition sometimes. He presses the centre-back and the goalkeeper to force them to kick the ball long, and sometimes when he's in the mood, he randomly sprints into the opposition defender who's got the ball. But then he gets shredded after a few passes and gets mad at his own teammates and blames them for not pressing with him. So his teammates' obvious reaction would be like, what the fuck? Why are you pressing on your own, mate? Sometimes when he feels like pressing, he sprints and presses near the halfway line. It's all good in that, but the thing is, there's no rule and discipline in his presses. When and where he presses simply depends on his mood. So he presses when he wants to and doesn't press when he doesn't want to. This means that the biggest problem is that in the moment that he has to press the opposition, he doesn't if he doesn't feel like he's in the mood to press. For example, when a short pass to Ronaldo is intercepted by the opposition, Ronaldo has to press him because he's the closer player to the opposition. But what does he do instead? He blames his teammate for miskicking the ball and stands still. This benefits the opposition in many ways because it can keep the ball under his feet and look up to see where the options are, and most importantly, the opposition has the time and space to execute a high quality pass, which means that United immediately have to defend against a counter-attacking situation, and everyone excluding Ronaldo needs to sprint back to the defensive third. I personally think that a situation like this shouldn't just simply be described as Ronaldo's lack of pressing. I think it's more appropriate to say that Ronaldo puts his team in jeopardy because you can easily concede in this situation. What's more funny about Ronaldo is that he presses without a clear objective, but instead he presses the way he wants to press. In a situation like this, Man United are pressing in the middle third of the pitch and the opposition centre-back has the ball. United players were squeezing the opposition towards this side of the pitch, so Ronaldo's role was to block this passing lane to stop the opposition from switching their play to the other side of the pitch. However, Ronaldo moves into this position, and so the opposition centre-back can easily progress the ball to the other side where there's much bigger space to attack. Ronaldo's one unthoughtful pressing causes teammate to shift over to the other side. If he was a little bit smarter, he could have forced the opposition centre-back to progress the ball into an area where his teammates had more chance of winning the ball. It's quite interesting to see the follow-up of this play. After the opposition players shifted over to the other side of the pitch, they were able to quickly narrow down the gap and squeeze the opposition, and so the ball was played into the middle. But in this instance, Ronaldo was the only United player that didn't shift with the team, so when the opposition made a mistake and the ball was slipped past the defense line, Ronaldo wasn't able to catch the ball. He could have so easily caught the ball if he shifted with his team earlier. Oh, it's just ridiculous. Also, Ronaldo normally presses in two different ways. Sometimes he presses like this, drawing a curved line, which is intended to push the opposition to the sides, and sometimes just runs at the opposition in a straight line. But there's no pattern as to how he alters between the two types of presses. In modern football, there needs to be consistency in his pressing so that his teammates can move into their positions accordingly. But because Ronaldo changes his pressing style all the time, his teammates get confused and cannot press as a unit. This is why a lot of pundits say that Ronaldo doesn't follow the game plan, but rather he plays his own game. Even at the peak of his game, he didn't press much either, but at the time, he was given the privilege because in the most important time during a match, he could magically change the game out of nowhere. But unfortunately, he can't do that anymore. there are a few players in the world who are given the license to rest a little bit from pressing, such as Mbappe and Messi. And as you all know, there's a reason behind it. The biggest reason being is that they can take opposition players in one-on-one situations. Taking one-on-one situations up the field can immediately create a goal-scoring opportunity. So in a way, players like Messi and Mbappe have to conserve their energy. But Ronaldo can rarely break through in one-on-one situations these days. Ronaldo's name and his sense of entitlement. Ronaldo's already written his name in the history books of football and is regarded by many as the greatest player of all time. This is why there's that special aura about him, and he has a sense of that unspoken entitlement. He exploits the value of his name and acts in certain ways when he's playing, which is not helpful for the team at all. Mainly, he goes missing from the game quite often, and I'm not even talking about the times when he left football matches. I'll give you an example. Ronaldo in this scenario had the ball on the left flank and passed the ball to Luke Shaw, who was on the overlap. After passing the ball, Ronaldo tried to run in and attack the box, and he got obstructed by the opposition defender. But rather than trying to win the battle and run inside the box, he stands there and complains to the referee, while his teammates are trying their hardest to get on the end of Luke Shaw's cross. On top of this, he abuses his name and shifts the blame onto the others. When he played against South Korea in the World Cup, he assisted the South Korean player with his back in a corner kick situation. When the ball wasn't cleared properly by his teammate, who was standing in front of him, the ball flew directly at Ronaldo and ended up hitting his back because he flinched. This can happen to anyone in a game of football, but they normally admit their mistake and apologize to their teammates. However, Ronaldo shifted the blame to his teammates for poor defending. He was frustrated with his teammates and blamed them for not clearing the ball properly when they had the chance. So what would his teammate think about it when he was the one that made the mistake? His sense of entitlement gradually caused him to become less ambitious during games. There was this instance where the ball was in the air and Ronaldo was the closest player to the ball. However, he didn't challenge to win the ball. He just gestured to his teammate to challenge for the header instead. What's more astounding is the fact that he didn't even challenge for the second ball either, which landed closer to him than any of his teammates. But because of his name, no one says anything to him. Another privilege of Ronaldo is that he takes free kicks. Gosh, I haven't seen him score from a free kick in a very long time, but he still spreads his legs, takes a big breath, and most of the time just blasts it at the wall. What's he still got then? One thing that he still has for sure is his off the ball movement. His involvement in the half space to help out with the build up is still good, and his quick shift to the sideline or running behind the defense line are also really good. And one thing he does best is securing a good position in the box to score from a cross, and in doing so avoiding offside as much as possible. But he still takes offside position sometimes. He's still good at winning penalties too. During his World Cup match against Ghana, the way in which he won a penalty was incredible. He saw Salisu getting tight from behind, so when he went for the ball, he just touched it slightly and relaxed his body so that when Salisu touched his foot, he would immediately fall over. Salisu would have been unhappy with the decision because he probably only barged Ronaldo with his normal strength, but Ronaldo went down super easily. Some people say that it was a soft penalty, but Ronaldo did touch the ball first and won the penalty, and he did score from it, so he's still very clever inside the box. When Ronaldo sniffs a goal and sprints up the field to score, his movement and his eagerness is still reminiscent of the Ronaldo that we all know of. His agility and his willingness to get involved in a goal is still there. His long range shots are also still pretty good. I know that he doesn't score long range shots as often as before, but the trajectory and the power of his shots are still not too bad. Oh, and also, one thing that is also very good at is pretending to press. So overall, his form has certainly dropped. I've recently never been impressed with Ronaldo's play, whereas previously there was at least one moment in a game where I thought Ronaldo's sick. He's no longer a player that has to start every match, and his irreplaceable abilities have become replaceable by other players' abilities. So, as mentioned earlier, after agreeing with United to terminate his contract, only the Saudi Arabian club were interested in Ronaldo's signature, and he wasn't wanted by any other clubs in Europe. I originally thought that he was going to wait until January for a Champions League club to make contact, which would mean that he'd be able to carry on with his Champions League's top goal scorer title. But my guess was wrong as he moved to Al Nassr. One of the reasons that a European club could make a move for Ronaldo was because of his wages. He was earning £515,000 a week, the highest wage bill in the Premier League history. If you have a look at United's 2022 financial reports, paying Ronaldo's wages seems to have been financially damaging for the club. In some reports, a few of the top teams have even refused to pay Ronaldo £80,000 a week for a signature. Spurs' Brian Hill is earning a similar amount to this, so this goes to show how much he's unwanted by the top clubs. So we looked at Ronaldo and his recent form in this video. His form had dropped, he's still expensive, yet he's still damaged the atmosphere of his team. I feel like he's going to show us something before he retires, so let's keep an eye on what he does at Al Nassr. That's it for today, and I'll see you in my next video. Cheers and peace!